Board. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. You are here today for how to AI proof your career. My name is Albert. I will be your co-host today with Gretchen here, who is a career coach and also founder of Outside the Box. As all of you may know, AI is here. It's here to stay, and it might even take your job. But with careful career planning and thoughtfulness, you can learn how to work with it. And that's the subject of today's webinar. We're going to talk about how you can do that, as well as give you an opportunity to figure out how you can work with us to go ahead and figure out that strategy. So without further ado, Gretchen, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thanks so much. Always lovely to have you.
Okay, thanks. It's always so good to work with you, Albert. Another Bronco. We went to the same college, Albert and I. Really great to have everybody here, especially such a global audience. So, today we're going to talk about how to AI proof your career. So, my name is Gretchen Hellman. I'm a master career coach and strategist, and founder of Outside the Box Careers. By now, I've helped over 2,000 clients. In every industry, everything from chief information security officers to AI ethicists to machine learning engineers and snow leopard conservationists and CIA agents plan, get, and grow great careers. So my career fits me really well. I get to learn all about the way the world works. So, just a little bit more about me. My background is in tech. I have an engineering background, and I worked in the enterprise software space for almost 20 years as a product manager. So, what are we going to build to create a good future, given what we expect to happen in the future? And then also as a product marketer, once we've built those products, what is the go-to-market plan to help buyers in that market connect with it? I'm also a trained life and leadership coach, and I'm constantly studying the way our minds work, how we can make even better and conscious choices, unstick ourselves. And so I've blended the two things together. Oh, and I was in my tech career, I was worked all the way up at the senior vice president level. So I've hired people. I know how hiring works. I know that board meetings are actually not that special or interesting as well. But anyway, so I combined all that experience. So go to market best practices. How are we going to create a good future and create opportunities for ourselves? I take that from marketing. And how do we get our brains to align with us while we go take on change? Because our brains can do really funny things when we go to look for love and look for work. And so combined all that in my practice. These are just some of the companies and organizations that my clients work at or have found work at. And it's just been so much fun to learn all about the way the world works. So, okay. All right. So, with that, we're here today to talk about AI and your career. What does the future hold? And so, why doesn't everybody just kind of chat to me right now? How are you feeling about AI in the future? Like, what are your top feelings? I want to see how everybody out there is doing. Oh, it's quiet out there. Okay, Brooke is excited. Albert is concerned. Catherine is hopeful, under and overwhelmed, uncertain, promising, pessimist, worried. Todd is looking for data. Martha is seeing some opportunity. Yeah, so like there's some hope for the future, there's some worry, there's like, how can I get on this bandwagon? Michael, what do you do right now currently for work? All right, Regina was grabbing an orange. She's excited. Everybody's keeping an open mind, right? And so, okay, so you're a project manager. And so, like, AI is getting baked into everything we do, right? So, AI is here to help eliminate some manual processes, speed research, do all kinds of stuff. And so, let's talk about what we know. So, what we absolutely know are that things are changing. but we are just on the precipice of rapid change. I can't tell you how much when I was developing this presentation that I just wanted to create this nice little chart that showed everybody based on what your profession and industry was and based on what your tech appetite was, where you should go. But we are just on the precipice. Like, for example, we know that AI is going to be used in graphic design, but like there's a lag in adopting it because of ethics concerns and because of a lot of stuff. So we're just at the very beginning of this rapid change. We have some data, right? The threats AI could shrink or eliminate roles in your field. We've definitely seen that with, like, for example, software development. So Salesforce and Meta have really slowed down their hiring of new software engineers because when it comes to basic simple code, AI can do a pretty good job. Um, and we've also seen, like, with some customer service roles and stuff like that, AI has been shrinking that. We're starting to see some growth roles, but we're not seeing as many right now. And the reason why is like companies are still figuring out how to deploy it and how to make it meaningful. So whenever we're at the precipice of rapid change, we want to be really clear of what the threats are based on who we are, our industry, our profession, as well as our tech appetite, and what the opportunity is, because every disruptive market change leads to new jobs being created as well. So, but I want to let you all know, no matter how much AI takes over, we will always need people to teach. What would teaching be without empathy? Now, there might be fewer teachers, but we still will need teachers. We'll still definitely need designers. So that requires empathy and strategy as well. We'll need people to strategize. So to be able to take in and know which questions to ask and get all the right data points to create, market and sell, care, give, heal, and organize. So, well, Wilson, so those who created AI actually, they are not getting laid off. And like when we look at the shifts in software development, it's the types of concepts and code that you know. Like we've definitely seen like a new role really grow, which is AI researcher, which is a master's or PhD level software developer. We're seeing machine learning requirements and like all that stuff, like pandas and NumPy and da da da, all those concepts in software development roles more now because they want people who know how to build AI. What we are seeing is we are seeing a reduction in software developers that were doing more like basic full stack type stuff. Um, so, all right. So, with that, let's take a look. So, when we're looking at a disruptive market change, and that's what this is, let's take a look at careers and what's happened at other types at other periods of time when there has been disruptive market change. So, let's go back because we can't truly predict the future. We can make assumptions about the future and educated guesses, but it also helps to look back historically at what's happened at disruptive market shifts. So when the Industrial Revolution hit, right, hand spinners went away. So people who were spinning like cloth on, like just in like by hand. And there was a rise in factory workers. There was also a rise in telegraph workers because of the telecommunications revolution. That was the beginning of that thing that we're in, as well as later on telephone operators. So every change brings some growth, every change brings some shrink. With the age of the automobile, we saw a huge rise in clerks. Clerks were the new winners of the age of the automobile, and farriers were the like they didn't have any as many horses and things to be able to take care of. So let's just kind of pause there. And I want you all to imagine that I give you a time machine and you get to go back and career coach a farrier, that's somebody who shoes horses, right around the time that Henry Ford created the assembly line. What advice would you give a farrier back then? Let me see some different advice. You guys are the career coaches now. Okay, what kind of training should a farrier get back then at the age of the automobile? Okay, fine. Yeah, you could go upscale. You could find wealthy clients, right? Who are like keeping their fancy horses. You could position yourself differently. Like, I'm not just like your average farrier, I'm for the fancy horses that you have. Exactly. Okay, learn to drive a car, become a chauffeur. So, really tack on to this new thing that's happening. I like that, Vikram. Invent an airplane. Was the airplane invented by the time? I think the airplane may have already been invented by that time. I'm not sure. But yeah, like maybe go into the aerospace industry. Okay, Timothy says go to an industry where your farrier skill set is still in demand or learn as much as you can about automobiles. Car repair person, iron working skills to go into construction. Wow. Okay, build machinery. All right. So, do you see where I'm going here with this? With every moment of a disruptive market, there's a solution, right? And so, if that farrier is like, wow, cars sound really cool, right? We might want to like help them go more towards cars. If they're like, well, I really like farriering, it's like, well, how do you carve out a place given this change and the changes in the market? Because no matter what, all this is a change in the market. That's all it is. And if we look at it like a change in the market rather than an existential career crisis, we're going to be able to think clearer and we'll make better decisions. So, okay. And then as we move on, we get to the age of computing. All those clerks went away, right? And all those clerk jobs went away because we didn't need so many clerks in the age of computing. However, we did see a rise in software developers, in project managers, technical program managers, and interestingly enough, a big rise in psychologists because there were more to work like double income households and there was more wealth and people were like wanted more brain work. So it was like another thing that happened that had nothing to do with the age of computing aside from some wealth. And so now here we are at AI. So now we're going to talk about what to do about it. Okay, so when we're navigating disruptive market change, the first thing that we want to do is develop a vision. And that vision is best made based on risks, opportunities, and expected inflections of the job market. Once we have that vision, we want to take some different ideas to fulfill that vision, put it on the idea board, get it really data driven, and then create and execute an evolution plan. So that's what we do. And we're constantly checking in because change is going to happen all the time. And so we constantly want to check back in on that vision. Okay. And so let me ask you all this. So if everything went right with this AI change, if everything went right for you with this change in AI, what would be different about your career? If everything went right in the age of AI. Let me see what people say. For me, if everything goes right in the age of AI, I get rid of all administrative tasks. I don't have to do it. I don't like administrative tasks. I hate data entry. I don't like paperwork. If everything went right for me, that is what I would be doing, getting rid of. How about you guys? Let me see. Waiting. Everything went right. What would your career look like in 5 years? Okay, Regina's business Regina gets to go back to working for herself and her business takes off. Catherine uses less energy for admin as well, so productivity would increase. All right. Wilson's going to be retired off of Bitcoin. Okay, Michael's going to find a new innovation wave, right? And ride it. Um, okay, Karen is not going to have to do so much manual work and technical drawings as an engineer. Um, Okay, and Patrice is going to be able to do more development work and more leadership work because AI will answer all that junior engineer stuff. So, okay, that's awesome. And so we definitely want to take a look at opportunities. So, and for all of you, let's also talk about the risks. So, Wilson would be married to a spouse who figured it all out. Okay. Karthik would be creating okay, more human-centered products. All right. Very cool. And so let's also think about the risks. And I want you to think about the risks that you see to your current profession and industry. So if things went wrong, what would that look like in 5 years? Relative to your profession and industry. So if things go wrong for me relative to my profession and industry, um, AI evolves. So, well, I don't know because I want everybody to have free career coaching. So I don't, and AI could never really do quite what I do because I use a lot of intuition in my work. So, okay, Catherine wouldn't be needed anymore. Okay. And so what is it about AI that could come and make you not needed? What would it have to do? Okay. So no more web design and creation required. So, all right. Entirety. Okay, please mention your professions when you're putting this stuff in because the context is really important, right? So if it's just skill set, okay, so data analytics, right? So Michael, if AI can analyze data as well as you, then that's going to be a risk. So, okay. So Sue, if AI figures out how to market stuff, then that'll be a risk. Okay. Okay. And so what we want to do when we're thinking, for me, I think the risk would be that AI could be human enough to be able to really read people and stuff like that, and I wouldn't be needed anymore. I think the other thing, if everything went right for me, is I would be able to train AI to do all the stuff that, people pay money for me just to repeat over and over and over again. And then I could really, provide more value and scope. So, okay, so for Catherine in voiceover work, media, well, and so AI can do all that stuff. But I think the question is can AI do it as well? And I want to say, when it comes to the expectation, at least when it comes to AI, is that AI is not going to be human-like enough to be able to deal with really complex thought and people's emotions. And that includes things like really putting together a powerful art. All it can do is steal. And hopefully there will be more regulations coming in so it will stop stealing. So, okay. All right, cool. So, so as we're looking to the future, we want to continually be gathering data. I guess we're already seeing some stuff in the voiceover space, that's going away. Um, but we want to take our industry segment, our profession, and our skill set, take a look at AI shifts now and AI shifts in the future. So definitely the things that AI can do in your job well enough that companies are willing to bet on them are definitely risks now. And so what we want to do is, first of all, assess the risk. So, what percent of my job can AI do today? I would say AI can kind of do maybe 10-15% of my job well today. And what percent of my job can AI do in the near future? For me, maybe 20-25%, because I need to ask a lot of questions, read faces, read emotions, stuff like that. Um, so, and then also you want to take a look at the rate of at which your industry is embracing Gen AI. So definitely, I know in like video games particularly and like some online content stuff, like there's a lot of use of comfy AI and stuff like that for developing graphics and images. However, for a lot of enterprises, they're not ready to do that because of ethics concerns. And then how much disruption does your industry segment plan on experiencing as general AI grows? So, based on that risk, so Sarab in hospitality and in the kitchen, right? I think that depends on how robotics come into play, but I believe that there's stuff in the kitchen that is really more of an art form. So, Sarab, would you say what percentage of your job is art and what percentage of your job is process, right? So the process stuff, it could be big. However, I'm not seeing a lot of restaurants adopt AI robots to cook their food right now. When you start seeing those robots come into play, that's when the risk is growing. Okay, I did that. So now the next thing we need to do, once we've kind of looked at risk and opportunities, is really determine where we want to be with AI. We can be at the very center of AI. We can kind of embrace AI and kind of like it, or we can go, I don't like technology at all. I just want to be safe. So for you guys out here, the people out there who really wants to embrace AI and just be at the very center of making it happen? Okay, so Catherine does. Okay, Vikram does. Okay, so for those of you who want to be at the very center of AI, right, you really want to learn a ton about AI. So there are like different career paths that are opening up in AI. The big companies now have responsible AI fields. I helped a client transition to that. If you want to be at the center of making AI happening, there's AI consulting, solution engineering, program management for transformation. That requires developing expertise in AI use cases and how to apply AI in an enterprise environment. The other thing one can do is one can really upskill for AI and machine learning. I will say right now, because like there's more of a bias for hiring for people with master's degrees, PhD, PhDs when it comes to hardcore machine learning and AI software development jobs. And the reason why is there's just so much packed in there. Like I've worked with some of the graduate students, and there's a lot on top of your basic Python, like Java, da 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 da. So like transformers and all kinds of concepts. So if you're a software developer, you really might want to think about upskilling in grad school. You can also upskill on your own. Data scientists should absolutely learn how to embrace AI right now, and then you can get ahead of the curve. Prompt engineering is growing as well. Um, and then there are also like all the traditional jobs. So for those people in sales, right? then it's like, how do I move into sales for AI? How do I get AI relevance? And I'm going to share a case study at the very end of one client I did that did that. I'll probably talk about another one. Um, well, Evan, Anthropic is absolutely going to say that 42% of jobs can be done by AI because they want to sell a bunch of AI. Um, I don't think that 42% of jobs can be done by AI at all. They're a little in love with their product, and while it can be very powerful, it really does have limitations. Imagine having AI be your project manager at work. How would that go? Like it wouldn't go very well because if AI is yeah, it wouldn't go well at all. So can't do that, right? Imagine AI being your product manager. How could AI be your product manager at work? That's not going to work. Now, the jobs that are most at risk, if you're in customer service, and I don't mean customer success, I mean customer service or things like that, where you're basically doing a lot of administrative, like delivery of policy, if you're doing any sort of like copy editing work, I don't mean like full content creation, but I mean copy editing. ChatGPT is really, really good at that. And so I want to challenge you all like, data is the thing that can guide us through this. And so, really try to play with ChatGPT or Claude or DeepSeek or whatever you want to play with, right? And like ask it to be a project manager, see how well it does. And then if it's doing really well, then you should worry. But yeah, it's not a good colleague. Exactly. Yeah. It's great for ideating, it's great for proofreading, right? It's great for analyzing any kind of like long email chains. I can put a long email chain into AI and ask it questions about it, but I still have to know what questions to ask. So, Michael, I still don't think that AI is going to be able to get that emotionally intelligent. Like, and it already does know a lot about behavioral psychology. But can it be emotionally intelligent? It definitely knows rules. Like I've given it messages and said, hey, can you reframe this message in nonviolent communication rules? It absolutely can do that. But when it comes to creating something in the future, play with it. Ask it to do all kinds of jobs for you and then give it a report card. Okay. So let's just talk about, so if we want to be in the center of AI, how do we get there? And so we definitely want to understand what's required. Okay. Number one, what's required? Number two, what are the paths to get there? And then number three, what are the investments and the outcomes I can expect to see if all that work is worth it? So let's just kind of take a look. Let's say somebody really wants to go into AI ethics, okay, like responsible AI. The first source that we can use, let me just go ahead and do this, look, is responsible AI jobs. Okay, this is all a lot of engineering. Okay, so Visa's looking for somebody, a senior director of global AI governance. Okay, so now when we are looking at different career paths, it's really important to look at them with growth mindset. The way that most people will look at a job posting is they'll look at a job posting to see if they like it. And then the minute they like it, they'll go to the requirements. Oh, this one's, let me see. This one doesn't have the requirements, so it's not helping me. Oh, qualifications. Good. They'll go right to the job qualifications and find the first thing that they don't have. and feel like there are walls everywhere. Have you guys experienced that? So seeing a job that sounds cool, like thinking it's neat, and then going and looking at the job qualifications and then going, oh, I can never have that. All right, that's happened to Trina. It happens to so many people. I want to teach you guys a different way to read job postings, okay? So instead of looking at things we don't have, like a series of walls that mean we can't have that thing right now, it is your career blueprint if you want that job. So the core rule of my practice is if you're willing to do the work, you can have it. If you're willing to do the work, you can have it. And so we need to figure out what the its are, what work they take, and which one you're willing to do. So if I was looking at it with a fixed mindset lens, I don't have extensive experience in the field of artificial intelligence with this, and I don't understand the global regulatory frameworks. If I was looking at it like a blueprint, I would go, oh, I wonder how I learn those things. I wonder how I can get qualified for that job someday. So, step one is kind of looking at commonality in groups of job postings, and that gets your list of things to get. And then next, it can be really helpful, especially if we already have experience in our field. Oops, can't do that. Nope, nope, nope. All right, never mind. Sorry, I should have closed all this stuff. But once we have analyzed a job posting and we can see the commonality of what's in it, in fact, feed those things to AI. Feed it 5 job postings and tell it to carve out a path for you based on what those things have. But the other thing that we can do is we can also look at real life people who have carved out those paths and see if we can find some secrets into getting there. So, kind of following that AI ethics example, let's take a look at a few people who are actually working in responsible AI at different companies. So, this is Sana Ali. And what we can do is LinkedIn is full of career blueprints. It's just chock full. We can look up anybody with any sort of title and we can actually see how they got there. So let's take a look at this. So we can see, okay, she did a lot of stuff at Stanford University. Now, and then from there, right, she was a researcher for the Stanford Institute for Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence. She also was a graduate student researcher for AI accountability and practice, right? So she's just embracing and embracing and embracing AI all the way through. She was a Google Policy Fellow before that. And actually, before that, she was a UX researcher. So, and then now she's a senior program manager. So you see, she took on some risk and she really, really hugged that thing and she ended up to where she wanted to be. Now, a bunch of you may be thinking, well, I don't have a gazillion degrees from Stanford. Like, can I even get there? We want to look at a few more. Okay. So let's take a look at Kelly. So Kelly is the Chief Responsible AI Officer at Workday. Workday is an HR software tech company, quite a big one. So let's just take a look at how she got there. So she actually studied psychology. So she didn't like go to a bunch of fancy colleges, but she studied psychology. And from there, she taught as a professor, and then she landed a chief analyst role at the EEOC. And then from there, she like just started doing some pretty cool stuff about algorithmic employment selection. And it sounds like that's where she got her first taste of AI. And then with Workday, she moved into public policy machine learning trust. And now she's the chief responsible AI officer. And so look up 10 of whatever you want to become and look at their path. look up 10 of those jobs, and then come up with a plan. Now, if that plan feels too big, if it feels like too much of an investment, just remember the core rule is if you're willing to do the work, you can have it. Like just because something is possible doesn't mean you need to do it. And so you really want to check in with yourself as you're creating these career plans to see how it feels in your gut. Like for me, for example, sometimes I think, oh, it would be so much fun to be a television writer. I want to be a television writer. That sounds great. And then I think about all the work it would take. Oh my gosh, it would take like, doing a bunch of writing without knowing if anything was going to happen. I'd have to probably move to LA. And no offense, my Irvine friend, I like NorCal. I'm not a big SoCal person. It's lovely down there, but not my cup of tea. Um, and so I'd have to probably move down to LA. Like, and then even still, then I would be working in a writer's room. I wouldn't have like, if I was able to get there, I wouldn't have a lot of stability in my income. And there are some pretty toxic environments down there. So for me, cool idea, game off. Don't want to do all that work. But for starting this business, so leaving my senior vice president of products career and starting my business as a career coach, that required all kinds of the same kind of work that becoming a television writer would, doing a bunch of stuff without knowing if it was going to work, taking on a lot of risk, right? Really getting outside of my comfort zone, uh, spending lots of money on education. My coaching program was no joke. But I love this thing so much that it's game on. So really listen to your gut as you're exploring these ideas. You'll feel so much better. And so that's if we really want to embrace AI, right? There's also kind of the middle, and the middle is like, well, AI is fine. I like what I do in my profession. For those of you who like what's going on in your profession, you just don't want AI to come and take your job. Try to become the expert in AI tools for your profession. So really like so for the project managers out there, like really start to get curious and understand how AI tools can help project management be better. Start adopting them if you can, or even just piloting and testing them. Then you get to put that stuff on your resume, and guess what? So then you've got AI stuff on your resume, and you have taken a step to AI proof your career. I got to add a slide on that in the middle. Remember that note. So that's for the people in the middle. I like my profession, but I don't want AI to take it away. So like become the expert in the tools for your profession to make it faster and better. So the third category is career transition due to risk. So that's like, well, if AI can do a big part of your job well, that's check mark one. If there's adoption that is happening right now, that's check two in the risk box. And check three, if if they're seeing layoffs and immediate prediction, like so that's a big risk and we want to really take some action. So there are a few different places to go. So the first thing we can do is we can go from administrative to strategic. So for example, if I'm in customer service, I might want to start carving a path to customer success or sales or program management. The more that people systems are involved in a job, and it's like getting people together, getting a strategy together, those jobs are predicted to be more protected from AI because it's not expected that AI can do those jobs well, no matter what Anthropic says at the moment. 42%. I don't believe that at all. Anyway, and I used to also be in tech marketing, and so I understand why they're saying that. In any event, so what you want to do if you're doing a lot of administrative work and your career is really at risk is first of all, get the data to prove to you that that's true. Like there has to be AI has to be strongly capable, there has to be adoption, and like you can see like things really starting to turn. Um, If you're worried about it 5 years out, you can just and you don't like your career that much, you can get started on that transition plan now. So, we already talked about creating a plan for change with career exploration. You can do industry shifts, right? So, like, for example, another way to go for a customer service person is to say, you know what? I really just like taking care of people. And then think about maybe caregiver roles or roles in healthcare. Like, AI is really going to change healthcare, but it's more supporting healthcare. So it's not a good time to like become somebody in healthcare who reads x-rays, right? We're expecting that like x-rays can be read, but it is a really good time to do anything in the more human-centered realm. Um, Talked about upskilling, so we can just like use the world as our shopping cart, go get a new skill or have a new experience, put it on our resume. Um, there's a lot of focus on credentials. I think credentials cost a lot of money and hiring organizations don't care about them. Instead of credentialing, what I really recommend is that if you want to get AI experience, go find a way to use AI in a meaningful way for your profession, go use it, and then write down that experience. That's going to be so much better than any credential you ever could. And a lot of people might go, well, my company won't let me do it. Like, if you turn on, right? If you just turn on a new AI feature, even without their permission, and you use it to make something more efficient about your project, that's okay. That's an okay thing to do. That's you using AI. Another opportunity that we do have at the beginning of a market disruption is establishing early expertise. So, because AI is going to grow, there's so much opportunity to establish early expertise. Like in the project management example, we can establish early expertise in AI for project management. For let me see. Uh, I'm looking for more careers sort of things. But like if like there could be AI for sales, AI for anything, but we can really establish early expertise at the beginning of a market disruption. One of my clients who I worked with came to see me and she had an opportunity at one of the big tech companies to study how to make um, avatars and more human, avatars more human. And that gave her some early expertise that we were really able to build because nobody was talking about how to make avatars more human. And that's become really, really important as, you know, more AI is being used for human communication and stuff like that. But it's still not going to get to the point where it takes every job ever. So don't worry. There will still be jobs left when the age of computing happened, everybody was like, computers are going to take all our jobs. And then the internet happened, and everybody was like, internet's going to take all our jobs. And now AI is happening, and everybody's AI is going to take our jobs. AI will consume some professions, it will change some industries, but it will also create more jobs. Yes. And so the hard thing is knowing what to become expert in. Absolutely. And so it does take some strategic thought. So we'll talk through, we've got a workshop that's coming up on that that will help you really plan that out because it will be unique for you. So just to summarize it up, so we're at the precipice of a huge disruption. And so for executing and evolving, once we have that vision, and we can talk a little bit, we'll probably have some time for questions at the end, and we can talk through how to really figure out those options and sort through them. But we want to take on right-sized amounts of change. Sometimes our change appetite is big. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I really want to go all in on this AI thing. I'm gonna like apply to grad school. I'm gonna do all this stuff, like, or I'm gonna become an expert in this thing. I'm gonna do some research and I'm gonna figure it out. But sometimes our appetite for change is not as big, and it's okay to take a small step. A small step is so much better than looking at the world with so much overwhelm you can't handle it and not taking any steps at all. So feel free to even just take a tiny step, like ask AI a question about AI that you have. It's really okay. So, also, so as you're executing and evolving, practice quarterly check-ins with the latest trends, skills, tools with AI relative to your career. I can see a lot of worry in the chat feed. If you set up an appointment with yourself every 3 months to check in on how AI is going in your career, whenever that worry comes up, you can tell it there's a place for you. We're going to collect data on the first of every quarter, and so for now, let me chill with my friends, enjoy my life, and just go to work. Um, so also experimentation is key. So it's okay to try on ideas like outfits until you find one that works. So if something feels too big, make it smaller, like make it so small that it doesn't feel scary anymore and take it on as an experiment. So let's just take a look at a case study. So Jeremy was a client of mine, and he was in ed tech sales and really not loving it. He really didn't love it at all. And so I worked with him, and we established his career vision was he wanted more innovation and invention. He wanted less following process and flows, and he wanted more leadership. Like he just loved to create stuff. And he started playing with Gen AI, and he found he loved creating. He loved like prompt engineering and like making these things work and making them really effective. So his hypothesis was maybe if I play with Gen AI, I'll find something interesting. So the first round that he did, and this did take a couple experiments, he played with Gen AI and he learned a lot about it, and he went to the job market, and it didn't quite connect with the job market because it wasn't enough on the job experience. But the data that he took away from that round one is without on the job experience, I don't know if I can make this happen. And so round two was he founded a Gen AI startup, like centered on chatbots and prompt engineering. And he was able to sell that company. He would like, and it didn't take him long. He actually just did all this in 9 months. Um, and so he founded a Gen AI startup, and now he's employed as head of sales for a Gen sales and solution engineering, actually, for that Gen AI startup. So he's getting to play with all the stuff that he really loves. He feels like he's got leadership and all of those things. And so if he had gone through round one and didn't take the data away from it, if he's like, this is impossible, he never would have gotten to round two and he wouldn't be where he is today. And so it's really important to like do discrete experiments and measure them and really learn from them. Just because something's a no now doesn't mean it like can't be a yes in the future. And just because something can be a yes in the future doesn't mean we want to spend a ton of time on it if we're not digging it. So like it's okay to like try things on, see if they work. If they don't work, ask how much do I like this? Jeremy really loved it so much. And do I want to spend more time on this and use the data to do another experiment? And then things clicked. So, just to remember, we can't know everything now, but we can start with knowing, right? Like, okay, what do we know? What do we not know? Once we know what we don't know, that's also really powerful. AI brings risk, but it also brings a lot of opportunity. Like the people who are going to be helping their profession be better with AI tools have much lower risk and much bigger opportunity. The people who are worried about the AI tools taking their jobs, but avoiding the AI tools without another career plan have a lot more risk. And so you are in charge of this. Well, we can't control everything that happens. You can at least control the actions that you take today. And curiosity and experimentation always win over worry. So if you start to feel that worry, if things start feeling overwhelmed, if you start being worried and trying to predict the future, tell yourself, well, I can't predict the future, but what I can do is I can form an experiment and I can gather data to inform what I can perceive to be true about the future. So, with that, we are doing a plan your career roadmap for the age of AI. So, to speak to Michael's point, like, how do I actually do that? I'm going to be walking you all through and guiding you through creating a career plan for the age of AI. So, it's 6 weeks to success. So, we're going to start with taking a look at risks and opportunities for your unique career and industry. And also, like, what do you really want at the end of the day? Like, do you want to like be in the thick of this tech? Like, do you not like tech? Because there's so many wonderful places to go. The job averse is big and vast. Like AI really isn't everywhere, and it's not like it'll like show up places, but there are certain places it's not going to take over. And then we're going to do create a career idea board and evaluate those. We're going to pick some goals. We're going to set the roadmap. And then as you all evolve, we're going to spend some time on professional branding for the AI age. So, how to help communicate to the job market what you want them to see and some key things that you can do there. So, that is a 6 week workshop, and it is how much is it, Albert? Is it two?
I have it 225, and there's a little bit of a discount for some webinar attendees today.
Okay.
Yeah, so will they get they'll get the course over the 6 weeks, and what do they walk away with by the end of it?
Yeah, so they're going to walk away with a clear opportunity and risk profile for their industry, things that they know they want to check in on. They're going to have a roadmap of what skills they want to gain and potentially different career paths that they want to follow. So they'll know exactly what to do for the next year. And they'll also know how to position themselves in the job market to create those outcomes they want for their AI career roadmap.
Love it.
So, yeah. Okay, and I hope to see you all there. We have such a good time in these workshops. I love an job listings workshops. So with that, is it okay if I take a couple questions?
Yeah, go ahead. Take some questions. If you're wondering
Okay.
about the course, let's answer those questions too so that you know what you're looking for.
Absolutely. I see a lot of worry on here. And so if you go to my workshop, you won't have to worry. You'll have a plan for that worry. So you'll have all the data, you'll have it all figured out, you'll know when to check in with things, and you can walk confidently into the age of AI. So, well, thank you, Todd. Thank you so much. And I'll take some questions. So Sam says, with engineers, should we study the foundation about AI? So, Sam, I need to know, you're a software developer, and how much of the development that you do can AI do right now, Sam? Thanks, Jillian. Sam, are you there? Maybe not. So definitely some for software developers, you want to take a look at the jobs right now for software developers that you find interesting. Definitely, like if you aren't learning about machine learning, if you don't understand machine learning, if you don't understand how it works, and if you don't understand a lot of those core packages, like I would say that's probably step one, right? So PyTorch and NumPy and Pandas and Hugging Face and all that stuff. But with software development, there's always a gazillion things that we can learn. And so I really recommend you go look at the job boards, pick groups of jobs that you really like, highlight the skills you have, highlight the skills you don't in a different color, and then like start learning the ones that show up the most because it can really be overwhelming for software developers to upskill. Um, any other questions? Thank you all. It was so much fun to spend all this time with you. All right. Any other questions? All right, we're at 6 p.m. Thank you all so much. It was so good spending time with you. And I hope to see you in my Plan Your Career for the Age of AI. We're going to leave with some great career ideas, all data backed. And oh, thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Smed. Thank you. Thank you, BB. Thank you, Timothy, Christopher. Spencer. Oh, Spencer, how did I go from an electrical engineering degree to product marketing to a career coach? Uh, we don't have time for that, but I'm happy to answer later. So, uh, and actually, before that, I was a bartender and a preschool teacher. So, anyway, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll turn it back over to you, Albert.
All right, thank you. And for those of you wondering where the recording is, it'll be on our YouTube channel. And we'll also be following up over Eventbrite as well. So look for it there. In the meantime, we'll be getting in touch with you about this boot camp and hopefully learning more about your interest. And until then, best of luck in everything that you're doing, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Hi, Eileen. I hope to see you there too. Okay. Bye.